Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
Well, hello there. It is 11:01. Man, we are really on time today. This is terrific. 11:01 as we get rolling on. Trev, we're going to have to fix that clock. That clock says it's 11:03. And my phone says it's 11:02. What is the real time? It's only like 1 hour. It's 1 minute difference. I guess it's not the end of the world. Don't worry about it too much. Let's always dial it back by 1 minute. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lock Shop. It's Dusty with you. Hush should be popping on shortly. We will recap the weekend. I know he was on Keegan Bradley, and Keegan Bradley got the job done. Tommy Fleetwood chokes it away again. That's what now, 42 top 10 finishes? Poor bastard. Can't win one to save his life. We will recap the weekend, NBA championship. Zegras gets traded. Build a little MLB parlay here as well. And boy, Play Alberta impressed me today. CFL Week 4 lines were posted at 7:30 this morning. That's what I'm talking about. Play Alberta, of course, has their logo, their branding all over the two CFL teams here in Alberta. And I liked seeing those lines out that early. And we already got on one because I think it's going to move. So I will lay that out a little bit for you today as well. Probably build a little MLB parlay, something along those lines. I've got a couple of bets up for you already on the EST specials page over at Play Alberta. It's playalberta.ca. You hit the casino, sports, live dealer, lottery, everything going on over at Play Alberta. Make sure you use your game sense when you are playing over there, but playalberta.ca. Download the app if you haven't already. Use our codes YAG50. You deposit $5. You get a $50 free bet, or use the code EST Sports. All caps, EST Sports, no spaces, EST Sports. Deposit $20, get a $50 free bet. The two that we have up for you right now, is Huss there? He's not in yet? Okay, I want to say this thing quickly before he gets in because I want him to guess these lines. BC Lions plus 6.5 points. That's a non-Rourke number, I think. And I'm sort of expecting Rourke to play this week. So I like that at minus 118. And then Aaron Judge, RBI, minus 105. Dusty's play of the day. I already have that on social media. Aaron Judge, 1+ RBIs, minus 105. You can get that over on the specials page as well. But lots to recap from the weekend. Like I said, we'll pick a couple of our favorite plays in Major League Baseball tonight. Put together a little partner parlay here as well. But let's bring in Huss from Winnipeg Sports Talk. Joins us today. Huss, what's up, my man?
Not much. How was the weekend?
It was okay. I mean, Mazzoli didn't really have a shot against the Bombers, so that game ended up being a bit of a dud. But Winnipeg looks outstanding, and we'll recap that weekend in the Canadian Football League. Then I came home yesterday and gave my family a tour of our new office. EST is relocating to a bigger office, so that's exciting. So we gave them the tour, and then Marshall had his Spring League championship game, and he won it, and he scored a one-timer, top corner in the game, which blew all of our minds. I was like, he always gets down there. He lines up like he's bloody Ovechkin, and I'm like, oh God. And this one kid passed it across to him, and Marsh got it, and top corner. I was like, my God. And then he had his graduation. He had his graduation swim last night for his swimming lessons that he's in, and he had to swim a kilometer after his hockey game last night. And he went and banged out the kilometer. It was really good. So big day, double medal day for Marshall. And I was like, buddy, you don't get many double medal days in your life. Like, remember this day. So it was a pretty big day around the Nielson household, buddy.
Just grinding. Well, that is good news. I was, sometimes some things in your life are challenging, and then somehow you'll just get something good will happen on the other side. Well, I was dealing with a bunch of stuff. The gambling gods were smiling upon me this week.
You hit Keegan, didn't you?
I hit Keegan at 40-1, and I love Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah.
What a joke. I mean, that was so bad. I mean, he has the 9-iron in his hand, gets talked out of it by his caddy, comes up short. Keegan puts in a dart, and then he puts it right behind Keegan so he can give him a line.
Give him a line too.
And miss the putt as well. I do think he hit a pebble or something like that moved his ball slightly on that putt. But gutted for Tommy. Not as much as I would have been, though, if I didn't have Keegan at 40-1. He had, and we had a parlay, Nick Taylor, top Canadian, with Keegan, top 20. So that came in. And then our CFL 110 parlay came through. And get this. I mean, I will admit, this is straight up luck. We do CFL 110 on Tuesdays. Yeah. And I always try, much like we do here. You know, we look ahead. We look at the lines right off the bat. And I usually like to bet the CFL early because I think there's big, especially early.
Well, we'll go through them. Play Alberta had the lines up at 7:20 this morning for CFL.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they are. But remember what they are this morning?
Yeah.
And then let's revisit what they are when they go off, because we've seen some pretty big line movement. So I had Montreal, I had the Bombers, I had Saskatchewan, all at better numbers than they ended up going off at.
Yeah.
But I also bet Ottawa, thinking that Drew Brown was playing, and parlayed all those four together at around 12-1. And then I had basically been thinking that was a lost bet because we were going to get to the weekend, and now they were going with their third stringer. And I'm like, oh, well, I mean, I just kept that game out of other wagers that I make. Well, lo and behold, Ottawa goes in and wins the damn game in a downpour. And that one came through too. So it was certainly someone was looking out for me upstairs.
It was one of those weekends, hey, buddy?
Yeah. So the account's looking pretty good right now. And hopefully we can keep it rolling on into this week. It does. When you do have like a big weekend like that, especially hitting a golf winner outright.
Oh, God.
I do think about taking and reinvesting some of this into some good futures. So we haven't looked very much at NFL futures lately.
No, not yet.
Those are coming up. And of course, CFL futures are up right now. And the Alouettes still the team to beat. And then you're kind of looking at Winnipeg and Saskatchewan and going forth. But yeah, it was good. Hey, listen, before we kind of dive into the CFL and all that, what a bummer for Game 7 to go down the way that it did last night,
man. Just like you see it and you'd feel horrible for the guy anytime. Like anytime you see somebody have their Achilles go like that, you're like, ugh. But you play your whole life for maybe one chance to win a championship, let alone a Game 7. And to have it go down like that, man, I felt sick to my stomach watching that. Like that sucked. It sucked. And they hung around, made it somewhat interesting for a little while, but that was tough. That was tough to see.
Okay, I mean, it was. And listen, Halliburton's such a polarizing player. Like, he was voted, we all remember, he was voted as the most overrated player in the NBA by his other players. And to me, that doesn't make you overrated. That just makes you hated. I mean,
you're unliked. You're not liked by guys, 100%.
And I can get it. He talks a lot of trash. He gets in people's face. But he'd been incredible throughout these playoffs. Bounced back to play. And the way he started, I mean, he hit 3 of 4 from 3 right off the bat. I mean, it looked like he was dialed in and he was on a mission in that game. And listen, credit to Indiana. The fact that they had the lead at halftime was incredible, but it all fell apart in that third quarter. And basically into the fourth, it seemed like it was basically a bit of a coronation. And now Shai Gilgeous-Alexander holds the most incredible record for a Canadian basketball player ever. NBA leading scorer, NBA first team All-NBA, NBA regular season MVP, NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP, Western Conference Final MVP. I mean, what more could he possibly have done?
It's season for the ages, man.
Historic season for SGA.
And of course, for the Thunder, they have 7 first-round picks over the next 3 years. And a guy they drafted in the lottery last year hasn't even played for them yet because he was injured. So they've got 8 first-round guys still to come, which is we did it on the show this morning. We talked about it a million times on Lock Shop too. No no professional organization in the history of North American sports has ever been set up this nicely. It's just, it's not, I don't even think there's anybody that's been close. Somebody texted in to say, Dusty, the OKC Thunder of what I thought the Oilers were going to be in 2010. You know, like all these first overall picks, and you're gonna cruise, but that's what the Thunder have going for them. So, and then the Kevin Durant trade the morning of Game 7, like only the NBA does things like that. Incredible stuff.
Did you see him the way he found out?
Yeah, at Fanatics Fest or whatever on stage.
He's literally getting interviewed at Fanatics Fest while it happened. And I've just pulled up some NBA futures here. Like, listen, get used to seeing the OKC Thunder. To your point, there, like with all their picks, with everything they have, this team isn't going anywhere. They're a really young team. They're 2-1 to win next year. And then, funny enough, the number 2 team on that list now,
Houston,
is Houston. Like, I kind of like, I mean, Houston was terrible a couple of years ago, and I guess they've come around.
Yeah, they've come around. They were the number 2 seed in the West this year. But remember, I don't know if you're watching early playoffs, but they could not score to save their lives.
Yeah.
And now they've got, I think, one of the most purest scorers in the history of the game. Now, tail end of his career has gone to other places not named Golden State, and it's been kind of disastrous based on expectations. But a really good team surrounding him in Houston. So maybe that does change things.
What did you think of the trade?
I liked it more for Houston than I did for the Suns. And I listened to some when I landed back here yesterday. I did listen to a Phoenix Suns podcast when I was driving back from the airport. And basically what they were saying is there was 3 or 4 other members of the Houston Rockets that they would have rather had than Jalen Green because he's not a good fit for their team, right? They've got Booker, they've got Bradley Beal. Now you're throwing another guard into the mix. They just thought, it was kind of like, you can have one of our guys, but you can have the one guy that's probably not the best fit for you. And then 5 seconds, that's great, but it's not first. They got the 10th overall pick of this year's draft. So what did I think the highest anybody on that, there was 4 of them, I think, on the pod. The highest anybody gave the trade from a Suns perspective was a B-, but most of them were in that C territory. Now, it's also not an easy trade to pull off when how many teams are actually going to be in the mix? 2, 3, and you're supposed to try to drive value against each other. So tough spot to be in, but I do think Houston's the winner of this deal for sure.
One other insane thing about that injury to Halliburton, I gotta pull this up here. So these are the guys, I mean, where everyone's talking about these Achilles injuries.
Yeah.
So Dame Lillard went down with an Achilles injury.
Oh, are you doing the number thing right now?
Jaylen Brown and then Halliburton. Yeah, they all wear number 0.
They all wear 0.
Like if you're a 0 guy, you got to be changing that, right?
I would change that number immediately.
I would be too spooked.
Yeah.
And to be honest, 0 is a weak number too. Like, I don't know why you would wear 0. Wear number 1 if you want to be the man. 0?
Yeah, the 0 thing, I've never been, it doesn't make sense to me either. I would agree with that take on the 0.
But anyways, that was spooky. Very weird. And yeah, so the OKC Thunder are the champs, and we now are officially finished with the NBA playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs. It is baseball season. It is CFL season. It is the NFL preseason. And I will tell you, from a betting perspective, and I know Duck Dad and a bunch of the guys in the chat probably are jumping on this, there's a lot of soccer right now. We've got this Club World Cup happening, which I haven't gotten into it too much because, I mean, I recognize some of the big names, but I don't know a lot of the ones. But
I don't even, what exactly is Club World Cup? What's this?
Okay,
I'm not aware of this.
Some people say it's just a FIFA cash grab.
Okay, I understand most things FIFA does.
It's a new event happening right now in the United States, kind of as a run through or precursor to next year's World Cup. But it's a tournament that instead of having all the nations, you're picking the top teams from around the world. So like Atletico Madrid, like today, PSG, who won the Champions League, is playing the Seattle Sounders.
Oh, wow.
Porto. So it's some really cool matchups. Now, what has happened with this is that you've had some bizarre, like big stadiums with two teams from the other side of the world playing in front of like 95 fans. But then you've also seen other events where teams have traveled with thousands of their own fans and bringing some of that sort of culture to North America. So anyways, like I didn't know a lot about it right off the bat. I've sort of been paying attention to it, trying to get a feel for it as we move forward to maybe get a few more bets in. I've been mostly paying attention to the Gold Cup, and Canada, with Jesse Marsh suspended, had coming off the 6-0 thrashing of Honduras, very underwhelming performance on the weekend against Curacao. Canada's got El Salvador tomorrow in their final game of the group stage. They're all but guaranteed of first place, but they'll still play this match tomorrow. We're still waiting to hear if there's any more penalty to Jesse, because it would be nice to get him back on the bench. And I think they got to figure out who their starting 11 is and start running with it. I mean, they had a very, very different lineup to the lineup that played in the other game. And listen, I get it, their strategy on that, but moving forward, let's get the big guys in there all playing together. And as I say, maybe that's a bit of a wake-up call for them because like they could have given up 3 goals in that game. I mean, they were up 1-0, and then Curacao scored a late one.
I saw they scored the late one. That's all I knew. Yeah, I saw they scored one late.
That guy Miller, number 4, had a very, very tough game. I'm not sure he'll be an option moving forward. But anyways, Canada, with today's the 23rd, Canada plays El Salvador tomorrow. And I would imagine a very much a better lineup and a more focused Canadian team to finish up the group stage as we move forward. But, I mean, it really does look like the usual suspects, USA, Canada, Mexico. They'll be winning their groups. And we'll see what happens when we get to the knockout stage. But lots of good football, or footy, as you will. Footy. And it's all happening, for the most part, here in North America. So the times are good. It's on television. So I've been hearing it. The Mexico and USA are still favored over Canada to win the Gold Cup. But I've got a little piece on Team Canada.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Reed Wilkins over in the chat says, in hoops, can't you be both 0 and 0-0? Big Uke has said, according to Google, yes, you can be both 0 and 0-0. Uke also would add, also according to Google, the number 69 is banned from being worn in the NBA.
Really?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that 69 was banned. Has there ever been an NHL player that wore 69?
Yes.
Who?
Mel Angelstad.
Mel Angelstad.
The Mangler. Mel played one,
is he
maybe
the only
two
guy
games in the NHL, and they let him wear 69. I remember Mel during his time with the Manitoba Moose, noted pugilist, hilarious guy, but one of those straight up enforcers. And I'm sure if you check it out, you'll see Washington Capitals, Mel Angelstad.
Yeah. It says Angels. What's it, Angelstad?
Yeah,
Angelstad. He wore it for the Capitals. And then Andrew Desjardins wore it for 2 seasons with the Sharks before switching to number 10. The number is not officially banned, but it is generally discouraged due to its sexual connotation. So
was that AI? AI pulled that up?
Yeah, no, that's like AI overview on Google. Yeah. It comes in handy sometimes. What can I say? All right. If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. Thanks for everybody chiming in and getting to the bottom of the 0 and the 00. Big cheer in the office here. Not sure what that was for. And you can text us, of course, 780-218-9999. So you've not seen CFL lines yet, right?
I've seen.
Okay, perfect. Because I've already seen them, so I'll let you guess. But first, let's recap the weekend that just was. And you know what? Let's start and work our way back, because we obviously hit the Thursday nighter last week. Let's start on the Friday night. Mario Alford, the walk-off to cover the spread and get the dub with 30 seconds left. I can't believe they kicked it to him because he's a freak. Then you didn't even have enough players on the field.
That's a tough
and
look.
that's a real kick in the nuts.
They showed the close-up shot of the Argos special teams coordinator after that. Well, you could imagine how many F-bombs was coming out of his name. That's embarrassing. That's inexcusable. I will tell you, it got us a great post-game presser from Dinwiddie.
Man, Dinwiddie was, he was not happy.
That's as mad as I've seen a guy in front of a microphone, like not at a ref or just like at his own squad and team, probably coaching staff as well, in a long time. But, I was mentioning the great run and, hitting that game and got an underrated moment of the entire weekend was the Argos. Like, I've been sitting there, the Saskatchewan's got a 10-point lead. We had them at -2.5. So, we're just worried. Yeah, fine, kick a field goal, get a touchdown, whatever. It's a 2-point game. Just keep it above 3. Well, they get it back. Lowther misses the kick.
Yeah.
So it's an 8-point game. And then they go down, shoot. Next thing you know, oh my God, they could tie it up. And then I went from hoping that Saskatchewan could stop the Argos to praying that the Argos made the 2-point convert to tie the game.
Yes.
Like going into OT, that bet was still very winnable. You could even win a 4.5 or a 5.5 point spread, on a touchdown in overtime, depending on what happens. But that was key because if they don't make it, then Saskatchewan's up by 2. And if they just get the ball, all they got to do is kneel down and that's it. So the fact that they made it tied, it was game on again. And then it didn't take long for Saskatchewan to take the lead again with the Mario Alford. Just about walk-off kickoff.
Yeah,
return.
So close to just being a straight-up walk-off, no time on the clock. But
for the Argos, though, listen, I know Chad Kelly's not there, but they got to find out a way to not be giving away games the way they did.
Yeah, the good thing for them, though, Ottawa has just one win. Hamilton doesn't have any yet. So, a bit of a slow start for the entire East outside of Montreal. So you might be able to get away with it a little bit right now with how Ottawa and Hamilton have also started. But Toronto comes up short, 39-32. They lose to the Riders. Ottawa in Calgary in just an absolute horrible weather game, find a way to get a very important win. Also by 8 points, that one's by 8 points, 20-12. And to do it without Drew Brown, weather, however it is, you got to beat the other team and on the road, desperate for a dub. I think they got to be happy with how that all went down, Huss.
Yeah, listen, they got her done. They're in a good spot right now, and we're seeing already. We talked about this with Montreal starting out on Thursday night. Just taking care of business, doing what they've got to do to get their wins, and keep on building. Now, obviously, teams like Edmonton are a different situation where they need to get one and they need to get some traction and get moving forward. But, very early in the West with the performances of the Riders and finding a way to win in Toronto, taking advantage of the fact that, sure, Chad Kelly's not there, but no one cares at the end of the year when you're adding up the wins and the losses in the column. And then for the Bombers, the Bombers side of things, they get it done. And I think Calgary really had an opportunity with that game on Saturday afternoon, as a favorite playing at home against a third string quarterback in Dustin Crum to kind of really let everyone know that, okay, the first couple of weeks, we're no fluke. We're a better team this year and we're going to be contending. And I thought they really took a step back. And much like we were looking at the futures right now, you got Montreal in the East. It does sort of seem like it's Winnipeg and Saskatchewan and then a little bit of a gap in everyone else. Although we'll see what BC looks like. BC's, they beat Edmonton. They've lost to Winnipeg twice, once with Nathan Rourke, once without. I do think BC's going to be, very much in the mix. But, listen, like we've been talking about the last couple of years, which had never happened before, can the Stamps or the Elks get back into the thick of things and potentially be a playoff team? Because it is very, very strange. It was incredible. And I think it hadn't happened maybe ever that we went into the playoffs last year without Calgary or Edmonton in the CFL tourney.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy last year. And, I would agree. Saskatchewan does look good. If Harris is healthy, they're going to have a good season. I thought Kolaris looked a little bit better than he did last year in this game. I liked this game. I know he threw a couple picks, but
Zach playing.
Yeah.
And I know everyone wants to make the whole
happened
big thing
to be there at BC Place. Yeah.
Like that. He played three brutal, I don't want to say brutal. He was really underwhelming for 3 quarters in that Grey Cup game. And I know the conversation around here is still, how could they be throwing it when his finger was falling off or whatever? And I get it. Strebler was out. You didn't really have much at the backup position, but it was everything that happened up until that point that really put them in the situation that they were in. So I think Zach's going to be playing with a real chip on his shoulder this year. And I mean, you were there for it. I mean, what impressed you more? Just the efficiency and execution of the Bomber offense? For my money, it was the Bomber defense.
Bomber defense.
They were doing.
Yeah.
How good is that Bonds at the corner? 24.
Bonds is, and I'm waiting. I want him to get an interception in a game I'm doing because I'm dropping a Bonds. Terrell Bonds, just straight out of the old movie. So give me a pick 6 or something. I've got a few different calls loaded for guys, and that's one of them. Bonds is terrific. Evan Holm has always been a stud. Hasn't really picked off a lot of balls. That was just his 4th career interception. What impressed me the most, and it's not going to be a surprise, it was that Jamal Parker at safety. I mean, he had to scoop and score, but then he made that nice interception after. But I think what probably impressed me the most was there was that one play where he was defending against Javon Katoy, who's 6'5", and Parker's 5'8", or at least he's listed at 5'8", and he got up around him cleanly and broke it up. And he's a different type of safety than Brandon Alexander was, for sure. But Parker's got the Bombers' defense is quicker and younger than it was last year, and I think that's scary for the rest of the West and the rest of the league because, those guys are getting to the ball really quick. Now let's see how they get Edmonton this week. I was just going to say, let's see how they do against somebody else, not named BC, but their next opponent here is Edmonton who's winless, rolling into Princess Auto on a Thursday, which is not going to be it's not going to be easy. But Paterson I thought looked fine again. The other guy that they like, Quentin Cooley, he's like a little wrecking ball. That dude's 5'7", almost 220 pounds. He's as big wide as he is tall, and he's got a burst.
Hot water tank.
Oh yeah, hot water. Yeah, yes. He does look like a hot water tank
with legs.
That's a great comparison. Dembski extended his catch streak, but it was on a little flip ahead. I was like, oh, it's kind of greasy, but what are you gonna do?
Who are you doing the game with? Was it Suits?
Yeah, I was with. I was with Suits. Yeah, I was with Suits.
Suits pointed that out. He's like, that's a little cheeky way.
It was the only one he had too, but whatever. Keep the streak alive. He's at 73 games. Milt has a franchise record at 90. So it's 3 weeks in the books in the Canadian Football League. I'm looking at the lines right now for this week, Huss, and I want to see how close. I want to see how close you can get on these things. So let's start the Thursday nighter, Princess Auto Stadium, 2-0 Bombers at home against the Elks, who've not looked good to start the year. Where do you think this number comes in at?
Bombers -7.5.
9.5.
Ooh.
It's opening at 9.5 right now. So I knew I was with you. I had to be more than a touchdown. I wasn't sure how high it would get, but it's sitting at 9.5 right now. So, I mean, if you like Edmonton at all in any way to just cover the 10, now would be the time. Because this doesn't move the other way. This doesn't get to 10. I don't think. I mean,
you know what? We could say that, but let's look at what favorites have done so far this year in the Canadian Football League. We really haven't had, with the exception of that Ottawa game, who ended up being 3.5-point dogs by the time it went off. Favorites are heavily winning so far. And that's why they're going up. I was thinking 8.5. I'm like, it's early, but no, 9.5. It could get to 10. I wouldn't. You
think it could? You think it could get to 10?
Well, just because I think people are going to look. Bombers are 2-0.
So the
Elks
money's just going to
0-2.
come in on the Bombers, is what
And
you're
I
saying,
think
and they'll move the
people are
line.
just going to blindly, not to mention the Bomber home record. It is important to note, and this is one thing I think to take in if you think that this game and the path of this game can be close. The Bombers coming off a huge home and home against BC and then a very short week. This is sort of what we were talking about BC in the first game of Winnipeg. Like Winnipeg was sitting there waiting, ready, arrested, and they were coming in playing on Thursday after playing on Saturday. That being said, I mean, I think the Bombers should be a significant favorite, and somewhere between 7 and 9 points, I think is sort of fair. If it opens at 9.5, I sort of get it with how many of the favorites have won so far.
All right, Montreal on the road against the winless Ticats.
Oh. Okay, this is going to be on the road.
It's in the hammer. Montreal has scored points. They haven't stopped many, but they've scored points. Or Hamilton.
Last week?
What's that? Hamilton's coming off a bye week. Yeah. There, man.
I'm going to go 7.5 again.
2.5.
Come on.
2.5. Montreal on the road -2.5 right now.
Well, listen, I don't think that's sticking around. Like
now, could this be a bit of a Davis-Alexander issue? Remember, they took him out.
Great
I just thought about that myself. I would have told you earlier, because there's some lines here that I will tell you are injury related. I should have said that. I didn't think about. Now they said it was precautionary, so we'll see.
That tells me they think MBT is starting. Like if Davis-Alexander is starting, I don't know how they're not at least a 4 or 5 point favorite with the way they look so far.
Your reaction when I said 2.5 was classic Huss. Like the whole body jumped back. That was amazing. I loved it.
Good for some clips.
Yeah, that was good. Okay. The Riders at home against BC. I will tell you, we've already hammered this morning at EST because I believe this is a non-Nathan Rourke line, and he was a game time decision last week. So I think I'm okay risking it to get it at this number, whether he plays or not. So what do you think the number is?
So this is the non-Nathan Rourke line.
I think this is the non-Nathan Rourke line. Yeah.
Okay, 5.5.
6.5.
6.5.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Get on him at 6.5 here. If Rourke plays, this is going to be within a field goal. I think. Don't you think?
Yeah.
3, 2.5.
It'll come down 3.5 sort of thing. I mean, Nathan Rourke will move that line 3 points for sure.
Have to tell you, the early week, and lots of times we don't get these lines till Tuesday, but this early week CFL betting is this is as close as I'll ever get to playing the market. Like I'm sitting on it here. I'm like, man, the Lions, if this thing could move 3 points or more. Same with the Alouettes game. So yeah, I like that one. And then Argos and Red Blacks. It's in Ottawa.
Oh, wow. What a huge game. Huge game. Toronto facing 0-4. That was the Bombers last year. Not that they can't come back. And listen, Ottawa has that win.
In Ottawa. I would say this line, trying to think if this is a without Drew Brown line. It's definitely Argos without Kelly. And I would say this is probably Ottawa without Drew Brown too, considering the team so far this year and where this game is.
Ottawa -1.5.
-3. Ottawa -3. Do you think that's Drew Brown line or not Drew Brown line? It's close. I think with Drew Brown, this might end up being like a 4.5 if we know Kelly's not going. If it's opening at 3, I could see it moving a bit if we get confirmation.
You know what? I think I'm taking the Argos in this game.
Yeah, you think so?
I'm just thinking about how pissed off
the Dinwiddie meltdown.
And listen, I mean, they did manage to come back from like a double-digit deficit in the fourth quarter against a pretty good Saskatchewan team. Like, I don't know. I mean, the one game that I didn't see a lot of this weekend was the Ottawa Calgary. I sort of tuned in right like in the second half.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't know how much we can take away from the conditions that they played in. But, man, Ottawa with their third stringer getting that win, like, yeah, I put it this way. If it's 3 or more, I will definitely be on Toronto in this game. I can already see myself getting in on it. And wouldn't it seem this would be so CFL? Hamilton upsets Montreal at home, and the Argos beat Ottawa, and then you've got Montreal in first place, but with the loss, and then all 3 of those other teams with 1 win. I'm not picking Hamilton to beat Montreal money line right now on that. I'm merely throwing out a scenario that could very well happen.
All right, Huss. Let's talk. So let's let's dive into Major League Baseball here. Let's each throw a game in, do a little MLB double play here for today, and then we'll talk draft week in the National Hockey League. Trevor Zegras was traded earlier today to Philadelphia. We'll get into that. But just on the MLB sked, Huss, anything jumping off the page for you today?
By the way, just quickly in chat, and I missed this earlier. What up, Penner's Pancakes? Question for Huss. Is Dirty Dom Mysterio going against Joey Chestnut in a chicken fingers contest? And if so, should EST enter Dusty as well? Tell you what, if that contest is taking place at the ENC in Winnipeg, I think I would enter my pal Dustin Nielson to potentially be a contender in the chicken wing.
Well, I'm a tendy guy. My intake last trip to Winnipeg was 13 tendies, 2 full orders and a kid's order. I'm probably going to take the under 12.5 if we had to set it again, but I wouldn't put the house on it. I could see myself.
Did you get a kid's order as a snack, or did you get? I'm gonna get a regular one and add a kid's one. Like, was it a one?
No, so it was dinner on the Wednesday when we got there, and then I don't know. I didn't eat breakfast, and it was like 1 o'clock, and I was like, I'll go for some tendies for lunch. So I went down to ENC, sat there at the bar with some guy, just me and him, like the only guys in the place. Great dude. Actually told him about Lock Shop. I was like, hey, man, you got it. Because he bets on sports. I was like, you got to be listening to Lock Shop. So hopefully maybe he's listening. Who knows? And then if I would have known that you could do a kid's order, then I definitely would have done the kid's order for lunch because that was a big lunch. And then after the game, we went back for some drinks. And I was like, you know what? I get another order of tendies. And she's like, you can get a kid's order, right? It's 3 tendies and the same amount of fries. I was like, done. Perfect. That's a great midnight snack type of thing.
Yeah.
So, but I've come to Winnipeg a million times. I go there all the time, but I'd never done 3 meals until last trip. But I think it's because I hadn't been there in about 6 months. Now I've had the tendies recently. Do I really go back and have 13 more this time? I don't know. I'll have to see. Now I'm with a different crew, and their tendy excitement is going to drive me because it's their first time there this year. So they're all going to be having them. And I'm going to be like...
You were at ENC in Winnipeg and ordered something other than chicken tenders.
3 to 4 years ago. I don't know. Yeah, that's the truth, man. I go there. The one waitress there now. I don't even live in Winnipeg. And when I walk in there, she's like, double spiced rum and Diet Coke and an order of chicken tendies. I'm like, you got it. Let's go. It should be a combo on the menu, man. Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited. To get back to that, but yeah, big man.
5 cents. Are we allowing dipping the tendies into giant cups of honey dill sauce? Well, absolutely. That's the way we do it here.
That's the only way. It's the only way to go. I mean, I'm trying to build this relationship with the guy at the bar during the weekdays in the afternoons so that I can get him to give me like a huge sample of it, so I can bring it back here. Because I tried to get that honey dill going with a sauce company here, but they just didn't come remotely close to what I was looking for. So really? I was just like, yeah, they couldn't do it. So I want to get that secret recipe from the ENC.
There are some places, like if you go to, at least in Winnipeg, I mean, listen, we all know I'm not a frequent visitor to like legitimate grocery stores, but they're in the, where you get like your condiments and stuff. There are, I believe, at least one or a couple ones where you can get like just a bottle of honey dill sauce. And I guess like it'll change. Like some places are a little bit more mayo based, some places are a little bit more honey based. But there's a few different, like you will be able to get something you can take home if you pop by there. I'll take a look and see if I can grab something for you in a minute.
No, there we go. Okay, that's good. What did you say? I'm not a frequent visitor to regular grocery stores?
Yeah, regular, legitimate grocery stores. But I have been in there enough.
Like, do you ever roll in and get a cart full of groceries?
Listen, the last time I was there, and I realized it had probably been about 6 to 7 months since I'd been in a Safeway. This was what I got. I got some Johnsonville Brats, which I love, and some buns. I think I got some butter tarts. I got about 4 or 5 frozen pizzas. Got a rack of Diet Pepsi. Think I got some chips. I think I did go through the produce thing, and I got one of those little things of the cut up pineapple. Love pineapple.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Figured that was a bit of a change. And I might have gotten one of those bags. I'm like, okay, you know what? You're here. Maybe you get something else other than the pineapple. And I think I got a bag, one of those little Caesar salad kits.
Oh, yeah. They're easy to do. Yeah.
And then the rest of it didn't go in.
Yeah.
And I think I may have bought a thing of milk, which I probably had one thing of some cereal, and then it was bad. So again, this is why if you go back, especially if you're out a lot, cooking for one, an absolute disaster. So it's just more picking up things that, like pizzas that,
well, everything you just said, you could get at a 7-Eleven anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
So,
like, put it this way, your frozen pizza selection is definitely going to be better at a grocery store.
Of course. Yeah.
Especially now that Sev has pizza. And I mean, the pizza is,
yeah.
I mean, you gotta be in a bit of a situation if your best option is Sev Pizza, which we've all been there at times, but I try not to be in that situation. So, but yes, Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball. What do we have cooking?
I'll tell you,
today?
I like Seattle. I like Seattle. Minus 102. Brian Wu is starting. He has gone at least 6 innings in all 14 starts so far this season. So he's put the Mariners in a pretty good spot time and time again. So I think I like Seattle.
Slight fave. Oh, we got the good old Cubs Cardinals matchup. Those teams hate each other. Great rivalry. I didn't think the Cards were going to be very good. They've actually been on a bit of a, it looks like they played pretty well lately because they're 6 games above 500. They lost to the Reds yesterday, but had won 5 in a row before that. Where are we at with the latest on the Cubbies? Cubbies most recent is they've lost 3 of 4, and they got lit up big time over the weekend by the Mariners. I may put a little sprinkle on the Cards today. The Pirates going up against the Brewers. But the Pirates, I only look at the Pirates if Paul Skeens is pitching.
Yeah.
We move on next. Listen, a bit bigger of a home favorite, but Padres, Kolek's on the mound at home to the Nationals. That's a late one tonight. And, the Red Sox are now above 500. They did Devers. It was so funny. We didn't talk about this, but so Devers and the Red Sox were, the Red Sox were in San Francisco on the weekend to play Devers and the Giants. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I think we can pretty much consider that Devers is going to do something big. And lo and behold, second game, a homer for Devers, so he went over the two bases. Do we have Jays today or no?
No,
Jays
no Jays today.
Braves Mets today is sort of an interesting one. Patrick Corbin, 4-6 with a 3.19 ERA. Is this? Trevor Rogers is pitching for Baltimore. Man, Baltimore sucks this year. They were like the second or third shortest favorite to win the World Series at the start of the year.
Yeah. They've just. I haven't been paying close enough attention to know what's going on there, but I thought Baltimore was supposed to be really good again this year.
They are 18. They're 11 games under 500. And you know what? Hey, the Yankees got it together, albeit against the Orioles on the weekend. But I'm just looking off of ESPN. I don't know what number you have there, but ESPN's just says that it's going to be around Yankees minus 130.
Yeah, I'm looking at minus 133.
And who do we have here? Alan Winans. I guess it's because they've got a guy that's starting that I don't believe has any starts so far this year. Maybe they've just called him up to make it happen, but their bats are going. I don't mind the Yankees in that one too. So you like the Mariners?
I like the Mariners. You mentioned the Padres. That's it's a longer, bigger, chalkier line at home, but for a parlay, it's not the end of the world. And then what you mentioned, Corbin for the Rangers against the Orioles?
Well, to be honest, I mean, when I looked at that and looking that matchup, and that's an earlier game. I mean, Rogers' numbers are better, but he hasn't pitched very much. I
think the Yankees might be the smarter play for a parlay, eh?
Yeah. I mean, Yankees at minus 130 and the Reds at minus 105 or whatever those numbers are again.
Yeah.
The pitching matchup thing on ESPN. That's kind of where I like to start before moving over and kind of letting what the lines are.
I don't hate Mariners, Padres, Yankees.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll send that over. We'll get that done. How many picks do the Jets have in the draft? Are you guys like the Oilers only picked the 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th, so we're not overly focused on the NHL draft. But what's the vibe like in Winnipeg here?
No, I mean the vibe is still Jonathan Taves and what's happening with Nikolai Ehlers. I guess Elliott said, because I mean, like the timing of the Taves announcement was interesting that, he can't actually sign the deal until
in July. Yeah.
But they announced it when they did. And I think the idea was that, they could tell Nikolai that, hey, we've got Taves there. You'll have an opportunity to play with him amongst others. And I'm not sure that's going to change things significantly for Ehlers. It'd be great if it did, but I'm not sure that it did. So Jets have a first-round pick. I mean, it's 28th overall after the season that they had. They're the 5th last pick. I mean, they didn't make it. The final 4 is the last 4 picks. They're next up. To be honest, I think this is one of the most likely times we've ever had for the Jets to potentially trade their pick at the draft. They haven't done that before. Like, they've traded it at the deadline. But they still, I mean, it's great to have Taves in the fold. Lowry's out for the first couple months. They definitely want to get some more depth at that center position, potentially a guy that can come in, not named Taves, and play 2C. So we'll see whether that trade is in the mix. Hey, speaking of hockey, what did you think of the Zegras deal?
Yeah, I just always wonder what happened to Zegras. Remember when he came into the league, people were like, oh, this guy's, and I know, I get it. He was flashy. He had good hands, all that type of stuff.
He was on the cover of NHL.
Yeah. Like he was a big deal. I thought he was destined to kind of be, a star in the league, and that just hasn't panned out. So yeah, I thought the return was probably what they get, a 2nd in this draft and a 4th. And then, who's going the other way?
Ryan Pelling.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. Ryan and Pelling. I mean, that's another guy who didn't live up to first round draft expectations. I don't know. I mean, I guess my overall thought on this would be I'm excited to see Zegras get a fresh start somewhere else and see what he does with it. But I mean, I'm not sure it was a huge win one way or the other.
I would love to see what Zegras would be going to a team with a pretty clear-cut veteran leadership group that does things their way and the right way. because I think he came in with a lot of flash, a little cocky, great attitude. Like we all think he's great. Oh, why? Because he did a Michigan one time. Like that was his thing. And, you know, being on young, bad teams for players like that sometimes can, you know, create bad habits. And apparently he didn't get along with the coach very well, but I don't think a lot of guys did. But now with Q going in there, I think they realize, you know what, we'd like a little bit of a culture change within the team. So they move off him. And listen, he's a guy that came in, but I mean, he's been in the league for a while. I mean, it's time to really step up and show that he's matured and, you know, and able to play that 200-foot game that I don't think has been a big part of his toolbox right now. So, I mean, I don't mind the acquisition considering what they gave up. You know, and listen, the Ducks, you know, so what they've got, Ducks, I think, have 3 first rounders and 3 second rounders now, maybe even 4. They've got a lot of picks. So that's another team that, you know, now that they've done this move, maybe they put together some of their draft capital and try and bring somebody else in because, you know, with bringing in Quenneville, it seems like the time is now for them to be a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. And we'll see what other news pops up through the week in the National Hockey League. What's coming up in WST today, buddy?
Well, we're going to break down the Bomber game. Josh Frey-Sam was there in Vancouver. He'll join us. Mike McIntyre with more on a big week coming up for the Winnipeg Jets. And we will get ready for the draft. We'll ask the big questions to Scott Wheeler of The Athletic and do all that. And hey, for any of you that have played poker with us before, we got a WST poker tonight. You can check out my socials if you want to join on that. Getting underway at 8:30 our time, so I guess 7:30 out in Edmonton.
7:30 Edmonton.
Fun. All are invited, and other than that, we'll you know, watch a little baseball tonight. Maybe jump on one of these soccer games, and then get ready for the lock shop tomorrow, and really diving into some CFL plays. As I guess, are you traveling here Wednesday?
I travel. Yeah, I travel Wednesday, but it's not till like after all the shows here. So I'm in cool. Wednesday. It'll be Thursday, Friday this week because I'm going from Winnipeg to Regina Friday. So I won't be around Thursday, Friday. So Maddie Wannock will be back in the big chair. So
excellent. Yeah. I'll look forward to breaking down. We will get to. Actually, it's a perfect time because we'll just finish the opening round of the Gold Cup. We can dive in. I love asking Matt educational questions for Canada soccer fans, that for people that are trying to get into it, that need sort of the lay of the land. So Matty will be here, and of course he'll be all over CFL as well, and we'll make it happen.
Perfect. You have a good show, man. There you go.
Talk tomorrow, dude.
Yeah, we'll chat with him tomorrow. Winnipeg Sports Talk gets started in about 5 minutes here. We have a full slate already. How about this? All 5 of our special bets are already up. So let me recap this before we walk you out. We got the oil stream coming up at noon today. This is great. The early bird bet is already up. We're telling you, get on the Lions plus 6.5 because that's a non-Rourke number. And I think there's a chance that Rourke would play. So that's minus 118 on the BC Lions plus 6.5. Aaron Judge with an RBI tonight, minus 105. Jay's play of the day is up. He's on the Elks plus 9.5. Jay's going to keep trying to ride these Elks. Plus 100. Lock shop partner parlay we just put together. That's how quickly they turned it around. Good number, too, because it was plus 369. It's plus 420. Yankees, Padres, Mariners, money line, plus 420 with the boost. And then the grandest parlay, these guys are wild today. It's plus 39.95. This is a big one. Mariners money line, Pirates and Brewers 9+, Reds to win by 2 or more, Corbin with 5 strikeouts, and the Mets on the money line. How do you not sprinkle that at least? That's almost 40-1. That's the biggest parlay we've put together here so far at Play Alberta with Edmonton Sports Talk. So, DGen Den, you've done it again, and that's a big number right now. If you want to hop on that one, obviously he's been a little boosted as well. All right, the oil stream is on the way. Is John Gibson the guy? Probably not, but we'll discuss anyway. That's going to be coming up on the oil stream. Thank you very much for joining us today. Best of luck tonight if you're riding with us, and we will talk to you tomorrow.